So my name is Pedro. I'm the founder at Landing.jobs. Just like to thank Ross for inviting me over to come to
Pleasure to have you.
beautiful old Rome, full of chaos that I so much enjoy, especially when I'm in the bus with 100 other people, and only 50 people could fit there. And essentially, since this is a media thing, you got my Twitter links in there. So PCBO, it's my personal one. Landing.jobs, this is my company, and I'm going to try to give you a few examples on remote teams, and hopefully we can better understand how can you build your own remote teams. Just a quick heads up. I've been going to the booths out there, and basically people asking me like, what do you do? And then I just instantly say, I have nothing to do with media. I have nothing to do with ads. I'm in a different industry, which is recruitment, in specific tech recruitment. All right. So, no. All right. Let's go manual. Let's not go manual. Let's go ahead. All right, so Landing.jobs is a tech recruitment marketplace, and basically we do the matching between both sides. Amazing talent on one side, and amazing companies on the other side. So we work with Spotify, Booking.com, Sky, these kind of guys, and we do the matching. And some people ask us, oh, is it like a job board? No, it's not, because we do the full stack support all the way since we acquire a candidate until they get hired. So it's a full stack support. We do the tech testing, we do everything with them. And basically, I moved to London roughly 1 year ago, and we've been growing the Landing.jobs there. Just want to show you. Basically, we did this as on April's Fool. I felt it was appropriate since we are in Italy. I'm not sure how well perceived this will be. But basically it's that. I mean, we try to find really amazing companies and make you offers you can't refuse. Usually candidates that go to Landing.jobs, they will get like 4 to 6, maybe more job offers on the table, and they get to pick. I mean, that's why it's candidate driven. The candidates in tech, they have the force on their side. But still, many of them are lost, and they need the guidance to hit the perfect job for them. So just a quick pick. This is my team. Our headquarters are in Lisbon. I'm the guy in the horizontal position, and it's a really nice place. You should go there. And basically, yeah, this is it. But we are actually a remote team. So we have one person working from Barcelona and tapping into the Spanish market. We have one person, which is me, working in London and tapping into the UK market. I'm not only doing that, I'm also like talking with investors and our partners. Basically mingling, it's a nice word, mingling into the local tech community in London. I think that's how I met a few of you in the audience. We have 2 people working from Brazil, from Maceió, which is apparently a city with 5 million people that no one heard of before, but it exists. And our headquarters are in Lisbon. We got, probably this is nothing new, but we got freelancers for content and such. Or instead of content, we could substitute the word for, I'm not going to say, it's recording. And we got a sales team in Ukraine as well. And this is it. I mean, this is Landing.jobs. We built this team. The way we hired, for instance, this guy was through a referral. The whole team in Lisbon, lots of referrals, but we also used our own platform to get them. The 2 people in Brazil was a referral and then a referral of a referral. The sales team in Ukraine, we started on freelance.com, and then we hired them. It worked really well. We tried with the different suppliers, and these guys work, so we kept going with them. So we sent all the leads, basically do phone calls, emailing, spamming people, basically. And the freelance content is pretty much the same. I mean, freelance or Upwork or whatever. I think LinkedIn also launched their own thing now. Okay, so I'm dividing this talk into two topics. One, so I just gave you the example of landing jobs, my own team. One, I'm going to talk about nearshore. And the second one, later, I'm going to talk about full remote teams, okay? Which is a slightly new thing. And within that one, I'm going to talk about nomadism as well. So let's talk about nearshore teams. I'm going to give you an example. The first one, so I'm going to do like case study based learning here. So Betfair. So actually they're merging, or they got acquired, but they're calling it a merge with Paddy Power. And but before that, they actually had their team, their technical teams in London, and everything was going fine, and it's great. They hired people from abroad to go to London. What happened was one of those guys that they hired, the guy was Portuguese from Porto, and essentially convinced his manager, oh, I know we want to do this thing, which is slightly different from our day-to-day thing. So I know these guys back in Porto. Let's outsource to them. Right? So that's how it started. They did a brilliant job. The guys in Bedford were like, whoa. And then from there, actually the guy who in the first place said, let's use this guy, the guy actually wanted to go back to Porto. So he said, brilliant idea, why don't we go there and have a tech team there as well? I mean, we keep the team in London, but we build it elsewhere. And so they did. They actually bought the company, and then they grow the shit out of it. And so actually now they have, I don't know, 300, 400 people in there. But with this Paddy Power thing, it's a bit chaotic at the moment. And that's it. So basically, we have a situation where, through referral, again, someone convinced the management team to do the nearshore. Right. I was talking to some guys outside, and they actually had this exact same situation. But instead of Porto, put the name Riga in Lithuania. It's the exact same thing. They knew someone, convinced the management, they did a trial. Oh, it works. Amazing. Let's build a team there. Now they got 400 people working there. So this is one way to do it. Another way to do it, so you know these guys, Farfetch, so basically they are giants in the fashion industry. Fast tech, that's how they're called. Fast tech startup. They actually are called a unicorn. They are like being mentioned as a unicorn startup from London. Bullshit. They started in the middle of nowhere in Portugal. Not even Lisbon or Porto. I didn't know where they started. It's the middle city that no one knows. And then they outgrow themselves. They went to Porto, and then the founder moved to London. So basically, what happened was the opposite situation. So in Betfair, they were looking for technical talent, engineering talent, so they moved to Porto. Here, they already had that in Porto, and so they made the opposite. So let's go to London because it's where we have to be, but also they have access to other type of talent that they don't have in Portugal. So marketing people, creative people. It's not that there is not in Portugal, but not in the same quantity as there is in London. So it's also a situation of nearshore, but the other way. So I've seen this happen a lot, not only from Portugal. If you look at like the Tech City UK 50 top 50 growing unicorns I'm doing this for unicorns because I don't believe that. But anyway, so the top 50 unicorns in London, most of them are not from London. They just went there. And this is amazing because these guys, basically it's the other way. They're trying to find another type of talent. It happens a lot. These guys, you don't know these guys, they're into the fintech industry. They're really small. Basically, they're not even from London. I think they're from Brighton or Leicester or something like that. And basically, they found landing jobs. And then they were hiring, and then we started talking with them. And in the end, we ended up convincing them that besides having the technical team, product team where they had in the UK, I think it was at Leicester, we convinced them, no, you should also build a team in Lisbon because you can hire more people, you have access to more talent. And these guys, they did it basically. In 1 month and a half, they hired like 7 people, but there the difficulties were very different. They had to hire, first of all, they had to hire like a technical manager. and then that technical manager, that was like the first hire, and then that one participated in all the other hires. So they had basically they came to us to help them, steer them through that process. And but it's also a situation where they are remote now. And I think these three, and this is it for the nearshore. But these three are just a couple, like three nearshore situations. Now we also see like Facebook, Microsoft. I cannot call them nearshore situation. I can call them like fully distributed companies throughout the world. I mean, especially Facebook, they're opening up in Asia, whatever. But if you look at like especially American companies like Facebook, Twitter, all of those, they always, when they come to Europe, they always go to London first. It's like the normal path to do. So just a quick like wrap up on the nearshore. Like why are these guys doing this most of the time? So basically, in the case of Farfetch, is access to a new pool of talent in another location, not necessarily tech, but in most of the situations that I know, and we've helped a lot of companies do it. Sky, Equal Experts, we help them like move to other locations. Basically, they're looking for tech talent. So when you do nearshore, you have access to new tech talent. I mean, you still have access to tech talent back in your headquarters, but in this situation, you'll have access to the whole new geography. The thing is, how do you do that? You go to a referral, someone you trust, someone you add in your team, and then you move that person there, or you go to a professional like Landing.jobs, and then we help you do that. There's multiple ways to get there. Second thing to do this is like, this is not for Farfetch, but for the other cases, it's pretty obvious. I mean, with the same salary, for instance, someone was asking me how much an iOS developer earns in Porto. It's like 32 to 38k, like 30 to 40k a year, euros. And I mean, in London, that would be 70 to 80.
Have you ever had the reverse situation where you hire from Portugal, let's say, and it works out so well, they move them to London?
It might happen with that guy that we were talking. So the guy is working remote, and then he moves to if it goes really well, they might invite that person. The thing is, remote is a big deal these days, and that person might not want to go to London. They might not mind going there eventually, you know, like a week per month or whatever, but moving there, that's a different game.
Yeah.
That's a different game. So it really depends on the person as well. So just to finalize this, and just like, this is important. I mean, the turnover in London is just crazy. I mean, I talk to companies there, and they're like, can I please hire from the European Union? That's why they shouldn't Brexit, because if they do, they're basically fucked. Can I please hire from the European Union? Because if they do, like let's say a Spanish dude that goes to London or Berlin, in the first 2 years, he's still adapting to the market. So he's not going to be poached that easily, because that company bet on him or her to go there, and they actually took the step to make it happen. They took care of the relocation and everything. So they're kind of like loyal to them. So this is important. But also the turnover in Portugal is like three, maybe 4 times slower than London. I mean, the dynamics of the London or Berlin or even Paris are just crazy. I mean, you constantly get offers all over the place. And in Lisbon and Porto, it's not like that yet, at least. So this is actually a very good thing, and it goes into the economics. All right, and the last 2 things. I mean, these countries also have good facilities and infrastructures, and they're safe enough to consider moving there. So basically, what happened with Betfair, basically the management team went to Porto a few times and said, this is great, I mean, let's move here. I want to come here. Actually, you have the opposite situation where the management team wants to go there. All right, so this is what I had for you in terms of nearshore. And I'm not tapping into like multiple like companies, worldwide companies. That's a whole different game. So let's talk about full remote. I'm going to bring you 2 examples. First one is these guys. Have you heard about these guys? Automatic. Okay, you didn't, but these guys built WordPress. Okay, so these guys are big. Actually, they are small, but they're big in terms of like the impact. Automatic, they have the headquarters in San Francisco, if I'm not incorrect. I think I checked it 2 days ago, but their whole team is remote. So basically, they use Slack, they use a lot of tools, meeting tools, whatever. So they're fully prepared for remote. Their founders are pro-remote, but they still have an office. So basically, I was watching hearing a podcast the other day on that. And basically, the founders felt that, yeah, we are full remote, but still, we need a place where people can come like every 3 months, 6 months, something like that. They would come there. I know people that work at Automatic, and they have to go to San Francisco every now and then, which is good to keep the team culture and all of that. This is great. Now, these guys, probably you heard about them, Buffer. You heard about them, some of you did. All right, these guys, their product is not that big of a deal, to be honest. What I like, really like about this guy is their culture, like their transparency culture, their full remote. So of course they have like a financial headquarters, but like their founders, they just keep traveling all over the place. And so these guys are like pro nomads. Nomads is a new concept that appeared like 1-2 years ago. It's quite recent, and basically it's where people like mostly from Europe and the States, like Western countries, they will be like working and traveling. So they call themselves nomads. So they will get like a salary, like 2,000 pounds a month salary, but they are living in Taiwan or Thailand or whatever. So that's really good. I mean, you have an amazing lifestyle there with that kind of money. So these guys do that, and it's working really well for them. I mean, they actually disclose their numbers in terms of like revenue and everything. They're doing really well. I think they have like recurring monthly revenue of like almost 1 million euros or pounds. I don't know. And okay, so basically we have these two situations. If you look at Landing.jobs, it's a mix of I think it's more like Farfetch, but a bit more. It's a mix of Farfetch with Automatic. So we are basically from Lisbon, and then we were going to London. Eventually, I hope to build a team in London in the future. But essentially, I'm starting to feel that when I want to hire top marketing talent or creative talent in Portugal, I have some difficulties. But while in London, it's quite easy. So again, doing the exercise of why they do it. This is it. I mean, if you're allowing remote, you have no location constraints. You can hire people from India, you can hire people from Australia. It doesn't really matter. You can. I've seen situations where companies that allow, like, they're full remote, but they still have some time zone constraints. So they're like up to 5 hours. So they're like fully full stack remote, but they're like part stack remote. I'm not sure if this term exists. The second thing is usually the founders love remote. They love working remote. I like working remote, so I'm a huge advocate of remote as well. Not as much as these guys are, like Buffer and Automatic, but still, usually it comes from the founder. So it's in the founder's culture, and then the culture is a remote one, and it's fine. It's fine because it comes from the core. While in the other companies like Betfair, whatever, building that kind of culture, I reckon it would be complicated, to say the least. And well, this is like a small detail, but they don't have an office, so it's interesting. Like lower infrastructure costs. So last night I was sorry for delivering the slides so late, but I was actually trying to come up with this. Like I'm an engineer background, and it's like I need to do this kind of sort of
data source here.
and essentially, yeah, basically, the more remote capabilities you've got in your team, the more access to talent it will be. I'm not sure if it's exponential. It doesn't start on 0. It starts somewhere over here, and then it just keeps going up. And I think like Buffer is at the upper end. Like I'm trying to work with them for a while now, and the thing is, they are full remote, so they have amazing access to talent. So why do they need Landing.jobs in their case? it's a thing, like it's a complication for me. Actually, I want companies who are more or less here because they have less access to talent, while the full remote ones will be difficult to help them because they have really amazing access to talent. So my advice is...
But you still might need to find the people, right? And filter them.
Yeah, but because there's this, especially in the tech environment or the tech community, there's this thing about like being a remote nomad for different reasons. You can be like a father of 2 kids or 3 kids.
I have some of these in mind.
Exactly. I mean, the trend is there.
Yeah.
It's happening, and it's just easier. I mean, as a founder or a company owner, if you allow remote, you will have more leverage. You'll get better candidates. And they will appreciate it more because they are remote. It's just a thing, especially in tech. All right. So this is my advice is on. I know most of you guys have their own companies or working. I mean, try to be as much remote as possible, and this can go from simple things like allowing work from home a few days a week or a month. Or you can go to, okay, we allow remote, but you have to be within the same geography. Or it can be, okay, we allow remote, but you have to be within like 3-hour time zone, like.
One thing that it gives you, I think, in my experience, of course, you get lower infrastructure costs, but you also get 24/7 support all of a sudden because you have people all around the world.
All around the world.
Breaks when it's like,
That's it.
That's it. 3 a.m. in Madrid, somebody else can pick.
It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. There's no. What I'm saying is, from the access to talent, like hiring perspective and building remote teams perspective, the more remote you are, the better it will be for hiring. The best people will find better people, more engaged people as well. You'll also have like these perks, like full, all around the clock support. So this is it, guys. Thanks for listening. And I mean, if you have any questions.
Sorry, guys, can we do the Q&A?